Good morning, boys. I was discussing the development that leads to the formation of male gamete. There, I have said you that the different steps. The first step was the development of anther, means the sporangium. Then number 2 step was the development of the pollen grains, means the microsporogenesis. Now today I will discuss the third stage, the development of the male gamete before pollination, and the fourth stage was pollination. So today I will discuss that third stage, the development of the male gamete before pollination. Here that development occurs inside the anther, and the cytoplasm was fully vacuolated. Means many vacuoles are there inside the cytoplasm. Microspores, means the pollen grains, undergoes into mitotic cell division and produce two cells. One is vegetative cells, that is a large cell, large, and the second is germinative cell, that is a small. Vegetative cell after germination produce pollen tube, and the germinative cell, which is at the back of the vegetative cell, that gives rise to two male gametes. Pollen grains shed at the two cell stage. One is germinative cell, second is vegetative cell. That two stage layer, the pollen grain shed. The pollen grains, when they are matured, at the two cell stage, they exert a pressure on the anther wall, and then the pollen grain bursts, and the pollen grains dehiscence means shed in the air. Question comes, what is dehiscence? So the shedding of the pollen grains in the air when it is matured at the two cell stage, means the vegetative and germinative cell, that is the dehiscence. So many short questions comes from here, that what are germinative cells, what are vegetative cells. Vegetative cells produce or gives rise dash, means they vegetative cells produce pollen tube, and the smaller one is the germinative cell, that is a spindle shaped. Okay, so this type of small questions can come from this number third stage. Okay, now look at the board to see. So now this third stage, first it occurs in the anther. Cytoplasm is fully vacuolated. Look at the board. Microspore, go through line by line. Microspore undergoes into mitotic cell division and then produce two unequal cells. One is vegetative cell, second one is germinative cell. Vegetative cell is a larger one, germinative cell is a smaller one. Vegetative cells after germination produce pollen tube, but the germinative cell gives rise to two male gametes. Pollens shaded at two stage cells, means the one germinative cell and the vegetative cells. When the pollen gates are matured enough, means the two cell stage, it exerts a pressure on the wall of the anther wall, it bursts and the pollen grains are released. That is called dehiscence. Now the fourth point is pollination. Pollination means the transfer of the pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the flower. Now the pollination are of two types. One is self-pollination, second is cross-pollination. Self-pollination is also known as it can be of two types, autogamy and geitonogamy. G-E-I-T-O, G-A-M-Y, geitonogamy. Autogamy or geitonogamy are not the same thing. Okay, so you have to mind it very carefully. Autogamy, that's why I said autogamy and geitonogamy. So self-pollination are of two types, autogamy and geitonogamy. Whether the cross-pollination is called allogamy or xenogamy. Okay, now look at the board. Pollination is the transfer of the pollen grain from anther to the stigma. Now pollination are of two types, self-pollination and the cross-pollination. It is done by autogamy and ketonogamy. Autogamy means autogamy occurs in the bisexual plant. Here the pollen grains from anther of the stigma transfer to the same flower, anther to the stigma of the same flower of the same plant. So autogamy occurs in the same flower of the same plant. There are three methods. Okay, one is homogamy. Here anther and the stigma of the open flowers mature at the same time. Examples are Catharanthus and Mirabilis. Whether Cleistogamy, these are the flowers, Cleistogamous flowers, they remain closed. Stigma receives only the pollen grains of its own flower. Always closed, so flowers remains always closed. Stigma receive the pollen grain of the own flower. Examples are Oxalis and Viola. Third method is bud pollination. Here the pollination occurs at its bud stage. Example is rice and wheat. However, the cross pollination, xenogamy or allogamy, means the transfer of the pollen grain from anther of one flower to the stigma of the another flower belonging to the different plant. So here it is in the different plant. It belongs to the different plant. It occurs in the unisexual flower. Example is hemp or willow. Now I will discuss the advantages of self-pollination with the advantages of cross-pollination. Now look at the board. Advantages of self-pollination: it maintains the purity of the species. Next, it uses to make the pure line breeding plants. Pure line breeding plants we will get from the self-pollinated plants. It does not depend on the pollinating agents, and only a small number of pollen grains are required for self-pollinating flowers. So what are the disadvantages of self-pollinated flowers? They cannot eliminate bad characters. If bad characters are present in the parent, the same means any disease gene is present or any disability to adapt the environment, so that type of gene will carry on to the next generation. It cannot, so self-pollination cannot eliminate bad characteristics. Okay, and the vigor means the variety, then immunity to diseases and the ability to adapt the environment, it is not there. But the advantages of cross pollination, it can eliminate the bad characteristics because the crossing over takes place. Next is it helps in the producing of new characteristics because of the chiasmata, because of the exchanging of the genes. Vigor, new varieties are produced in cross-pollinating flowers, and they also have the ability to adapt in the changes in the environment. Okay, so look at the board minutely to see the advantages of self-pollination and advantages of cross-pollination. Next are disadvantages of self-pollination. As I have already discussed, still you look at the board to see that it does not eliminate the bad characters. Vigor, immunity and the ability to adapt the environment, it is decreases in case of self-pollination. Next I will discuss the difference between chasmogamous flower and the cleistogamous flower. Chasmogamous flower always open. Anther and stigma fully exposed. Anther and stigma fully exposed. But in case of cleistogamous flowers, the flowers are always closed. Okay, so here in case of chasmogamous flowers, as the flower is always exposed, so crossing over can take cross pollination can take place. But in case of as these cleistogamous flowers, they are the closed flowers, so self pollination only takes place. There are various agents of pollination. I have already discussed. Today I will give you the detailed view of that pollinators. One is anemophily or anemophilous flower, entomophily, hydrophily, malacophily. So these are the different pollinated flowers. So you have to learn the characteristics of these flowers. First is anemophilous flower or anemophily. They are the pollinated by the wind or water. Here you have to write down about the characters of flowers, characters of anther, characters of pollen grains and characters of stigma. Don't mix up everything all together. Okay, so here flowers are inconspicuous and not showy. As it is pollinated by the wind, so the flowers need not to be showy and conspicuous. So flowers are inconspicuous and showy, and they are devoid of fragrance and nectar. The flower produces large amount of pollen grains. Anther, now anther characteristics. Anther freely swimming in the air. Pollen grains are dry, light and non-sticky. It has to move away or drive away by the wind, so it must be dry. Pollen grains must be dry and light. Stigma must be feathery to trap the pollen grains. So these are the characteristics, and you have to write down accordingly. Flowers, then anther, then about pollen grains, then stigma. These type of flowers are grass and cereals. Next is hydrophily, hydrophilous flowers. Hydrophilous, hydro means water, pollinated through water. Here flowers need not to be showy again, and flowers are not colorful, no fragrance. Examples are Vallisneria and in Hydrilla. The female flowers reach to the surface of the water, and the male flowers they release in the water to reach the female flowers. So examples are Vallisneria and Hydrilla. Next is the entomophily or entomophilous flower. Entomo means insect, pollinated by insects. Here flower, as it will attract the insects, so the flowers must be brightly colored and showy, and pollen grains are sticky so that it will stick to the body parts of the insects. Stigma must be also sticky, and sugary fluid or nectar must be secreted by that flowers. Examples are Amorphophallus and Yucca. Here Amorphophallus, you have to note it down that Amorphophallus flowers are the tallest flower, and the insects they lay eggs inside the flower. Next is Ornithophilous flower. Ornitho means bird, so pollinated by birds. Flowers are tubular so that the beak of the bird can enter inside the flower. So the flowers are tubular, cup-shaped and brightly colored. So must be attracted by the birds. So it is bright. Flowers are brightly colored. Here the pollen grain characters, large quantities of pollen grains are released and must be nectary. Examples are hummingbird, sunbird, honey eater. These are the pollinators for this ornithophily.